Welcome to LVWS Confidential. I'm Gerald Bentley. Today, we're getting a view from the top. We're taking a close-up look at Versus Pro Studio, home of Versus Pro Wrestling. We're joined by Wes and Kara, the people behind Versus Pro. Wes, Kara, thanks a lot for joining me here on LVWS Confidential.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate you.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, I wanted to talk to the promoters, the people on top, because people who are wrestling fans, right? Everybody who was a wrestling fan in the last 20 years, you know who Vince McMahon is. Probably the biggest story in pro wrestling this year was Vince McMahon stepping aside and Triple H taking over. So wrestling fans casually talk about the people that are in charge of the promotion, the people that are running it, but really never talk to him and never really get a chance to take a look. And I know we're talking Las Vegas, but Wes, like I was saying to you and Kara a little bit earlier, depending on what area of the country you're in, you may have to take 4 or 5 or 6 states promotions and add them together to get the amount of wrestling content, the amount of action, the shows that Versus Pro Studios does on a monthly basis. I mean, it's a really impressive accomplishment, and I just wanted to ask you guys, what made you decide to start your own promotion?
Well, it was actually kind of forced upon us. not really in the worst way possible, but like we were going through a transition. I had separated from one of the companies in the city, and one of the people that was not necessarily under me, but was one of the guys I was booking as a manager.
Kind of a creative destruction.
Yeah, more or less. I was really just gonna start just taking bookings and go out and doing my thing as a worker. And the dude that was one of the managers at the company I was with is like, well, why don't we just start a promotion? I was like, nah, I'm good. But it ended up turning into Versus. We ended up having our first few shows over at Level Up Expo, and just built into something a little bit stronger.
Okay, so that's where the show names of Level 1 and Level Up come from the original venues?
Yeah, Level Up Expo. We owe a lot of our everything to Level Up Expo. We started there. We do that show every year. It's kind of like our WrestleMania for the year. Resets our storylines and goes back into the business.
Can you explain that a little bit? Because I know I've talked about it a bit, but 3 days, matches every day. Is that right?
Yeah, and it's not like we really take any breaks either. So it's an anime and video game expo. They have a lot of cosplayers and video game tournaments and signings and meet and greets. Well, they started off doing wrestling in about 2015. I think that was when they started their first year. Okay. 2016. And then after that, it just grew into us being there every year. And we did our first set of events at Level Up Expo. So it wasn't like we did our first show and then we took a few months off and then did another show. And we did 3 back-to-back shows, wrestling for 8 to 10 hours a day for really? 3 days. Wow. That's a lot to produce.
All the content.
Jump right into the fire. And a great exposure though, because what perfect demographic crossovers, right? Comic books, anime.
Exactly. That's
wrestling. It's such a perfect synergy.
Absolutely.
Way to kickstart everything.
Oh yeah, and then the crowd there was just so insane and very loud, very vocal, very welcoming, very cool to watch, because just like the cosplayers that are out there, it's just having that around our crowd is just awesome.
It's kind of cool seeing year after year, like some of the same cosplayers and some of the same attendees coming back up to watch our shows and standing ringside and cheering everybody on. It's pretty cool because there's 15,000 people, if not more, per day at the convention. So to catch certain people over and over again, it's really awesome.
So that's one of the bigger festivals in the country then too, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's growing.
I mean, you're getting up there with New York, Chicago, San Diego.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wild because we've seen it grow while they've helped us grow at the same time. Like it just year after year. We had 1 year off for the pandemic, but it seemed like it came back harder last year's Level Up, and it was just insane.
How many years have you done the Level Up promotions?
This is our 5th.
Yeah, this is our 5th year.
5th year, okay.
Yeah.
So 5
Our
years,
5th year.
a lot of growth for Versus Pro.
Yeah, significantly. Like before, when we started, we were working with Future Stars in Vegas as well. And then after we separated from working with with Future Stars, it was just like we had to find our niche, and then that's when we ended up getting the event space at the mall.
Yeah, and tell me about that, because I think that was really interesting. It reminded me of the old WCW Thunder when they used to have it at the Mall of America.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of that had to do with us linking up with Scott Hosey at Power Play Sports Cards. We went to go just say hi to him because we knew that he was at the Boulevard, and then he kind of pulled us aside and told us about this deal that was going on over there. And then we weren't really looking for like a steady venue or a place to like train, but the offer that was given to us was not something that we can really pass up. It was actually an offer that she kind of pressed down on because they gave us a number. We're like, oh, that's pretty good. So probably not in our wheelhouse. And she's like, we'll just counter offer. And then she shot it to them, and they're like, yeah, perfect. We're like, what?
Okay, sometimes people just want to say yes, you know?
Yeah. We weren't those people at the time. But it worked out for us, yeah. We were there for 2 years.
That's definitely part of it, right? In order to launch something and make it successful, you do need to have some things that you weren't expecting kind of go your way and kind of fall into place. And then that way you're able to grow naturally without as many struggle. And I'm sure there were still struggles. I'll ask you what the biggest ones were, but getting some connections and having some, breaks, if you will, has to help a lot.
The connections and the breaks and the help that we got in that time frame definitely worked out. But when we signed the lease, we were ready to go, had our Level Up, announced the new venue, announced the training facility, and then pandemic hit. So yeah, we started, and what was it? We signed the lease in March.
I signed it March 14th, I think, because it was 3 days before we went to COVID break.
Yeah, and then and then everything shut down. So we took that opportunity to build the venue. We didn't do everything that we wanted to at first, but we built the venue, made sure everything was set up, got the ring to where it actually fit into the venue, got chairs, did all the painting, and got everything set up for production. Like, we took that time and worked on it. And then I think we were only down for 2-3 months.
We were able to open July 1st.
Yeah. So.
And then you did some closed venue.
We did that too. Yeah. So like when we started, we had an open space to where like they were sectioned off and you could still be inside the venue. And then we had another surge during COVID. And then we told everybody that we're just going to do. We weren't even really going to do shows, but like we had already committed to some certain talent that was going to be in town. So we're like, okay, well, maybe we can just close it off and do a live stream instead, because a lot of companies were doing that. We ate shit for a little bit, but I don't know if you can say that on the show, but we ate it for a little bit. But those no crowd shows were actually super fun because when we closed the gate, there were still fans that came in and knew that we were having a show. So they would watch outside of the gate. And we didn't know if we were going to get in trouble or not. So we're kind of like, well, we'll do what we have to do in here. If they want to stay out there, I guess it's still okay, just as long as the mall doesn't get mad. But yeah, it worked out pretty good.
That had to be tough for you guys too, because you got hit twice, didn't you? With the wrestling promotion and also with your band.
Yeah, I mean, with the band, it was not only like a COVID break when it come to that situation. We were still like meeting and everything for practice and in the meantime, we were actually recording and getting our album out. But it was more rough because like it was just around the time that everybody was transitioning jobs and we were kind of all splitting up. And like even though we still talk and we still get together when it comes to like music and stuff, we're not really playing out. You know, we're not doing anything. We've only done a couple shows since COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, with the band is just like, well, now we have to figure out how to do this away from a crowd because a lot of us don't really want to be around a bunch of crowds at this time anymore too. So we want to make sure that if we do something, it's the right way, and we probably won't physically be playing out for a while.
Okay, fair enough. Well,
Yeah.
let me ask you about a positive change that just came up at the end of 2022, a new venue for Versus Pro Studio. Tell me a little bit about that and what made that move come about.
Well, it was starting to get a little weird at the mall. Things weren't getting fixed. Some of our equipment was kind of damaged, and it just wasn't working for us. They also kind of reneged on the lease agreement, so we were having to pay a little bit more for not a lot of help. And then Sin City Sublimation actually reached out to us, and they're like, "Well, we have a new place to actually work, and we have all this open space, but we need the office. Like, you guys want to check it out?" We're like, "Yeah, of course." So we looked at it, and it's actually a lot more space than we had at the mall when it comes to like the venue part of it. The back area is a little stuffed, but we still have an inside area to where we can get dressed and get things done with the production and stuff. So kind of a happy situation at the end, but like it was getting rough at the mall because things weren't getting fixed.
Yeah, that's a good reason.
Yeah.
It's been a tough time for shopping malls, so that makes sense.
They're a dying breed.
Yeah.
Sadly. It's a slow death, but they are dying off. Now, I know you've just got in there, you've had a few shows. What are your plans moving into 2023 for your venue? Do you see a live streaming coming? Are you looking to, and by TV, I mean internet-based, YouTube, Twitch.
Things that aren't national television because that's kind of the dying thing too.
Yeah. Sure. Vice, TNT, TBS, sure.
All that fun stuff. Yeah. We have a pretty loose plan right now. We're working with different companies that are out of state, and we're trying to make Versus Pro Studios as it was meant to be, like a studio for other companies to just come in and drop in. We do have the ability to live stream, but do we really want that quality? Like, do we really want that stress? Do we want to have a packaged product on a live stream situation? I don't think that's the best thing that we could do. I think we did a lot of cool things when we were at the mall, and I think that we could build off of that. But do we want to do it in a stressed and rushed way, or do we want to do it with a more like a lot more time under our belts and we can work on? Like, I want to make sure that the product that we do press out is quality and that we're showcasing the talent that we have that doesn't get showcased on a regular basis, like in the right way. So we're going to take our time and break it down a little bit stronger and see if we can shorten our shows and make things a little bit stronger quality wise.
Well, I know that people are watching this, and if they want to get a closer look at Versus Pro, probably the best thing to do, got the app screenshot here, go to the Apple App Store or Google Play, and you can actually download the Versus Pro Studios app.
Absolutely. We also have a Fire Stick app as well. So all the matches that we have up on our YouTube basically is just a network that you can just watch all the shows that we've done.
Okay, so everything eventually, because hey, it's live to you when you see it, right? It gets online and you get the exposure out there so people can see it. And of course, you're hosting your events. Major event, basically one major event a month. And I know you said you're looking at, as we go into 2023, talking about more of that working with other companies and kind of branching out a little bit. What are the plans for Versus in terms of branching out?
Well, I mean, we have one already locked in that I want to kind of save for the 21st of January.
Okay.
We probably will announce it online a little bit faster than that because it's actually a really cool combination of teams going in the level up. Don't want to spill the beans on everything right now, but it's something that we've been working towards for the last 6 months now. I think that's
so good. Solid. Just stay tuned.
yeah. Stay tuned to that
Okay.
one
Great.
as soon as we're able to drop that. And then we also have been working with Wrestle Dragon Arizona, Full Queer in NorCal, and then Compton Mania also in Southern California. I think that you'll be hearing more about what we're working towards possibly a little bit after Level Up in the Southern California situation, possibly a little situation going on in WrestleMania weekend. So we'll let you guys know.
Okay. Yeah. WrestleMania weekend, a great time for wrestling.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sure. That'd be a terrific fit. Now, there's been some changes in Versus Pro. You had the Shade was holding the title for most of the year, and just at the end of 2022, Damien Drake went ahead and grabbed that title. What do you think about the new champion?
Damien's been around with us for a long time. Even though he hasn't been a part of Versus consistently, he was there on our first shows too. So good to have him on the roster. Good to have him around. Kind of a surprise for us that he was a champion as well. So that's pretty cool. But I think that ultimately he's gonna make Versus proud and going in the Level Up. That's probably the best guy to hold that championship going into that company.
Well, he's
a
natural fit going into a comic book convention. He should be right at home.
That's my guy.
He actually shares names with 2 Robins, so.
Never caught that, did you? Yeah.
Nah.
I remember the first time I met him, that was
Damian
the name
Wayne
that he wanted.
and Tim Drake, so.
Exactly.
Yeah. He'll be right at
From
home.
day one, he wanted to be Damien Drake, so Damien Drake is our champion now. How do you feel about Damien Drake being our champion?
I like Damien Drake.
Yeah, he's all right.
Don't be mean.
He's got the 80s vibe going, right?
He's got the belt, though.
He beat your brother. That's the problem.
Well, the Shade, terrific champion for you guys, held the title for virtually a year.
He's all right. No, yeah, that's our go-to guy. If there's in a situation where like we're stressed and we really need some help, he's always there to like drop everything he needs and jumps on it. So not only was it special for him to be our champion, but it's also special because he's just a brother of ours, man. Like Damien Drake's a brother of ours too, but can't play favorites when it comes to the roster. You know how that goes.
Yeah. Well, and especially being at the top, because that's always part of it, right? You have to balance out getting people on the show, getting people involved. I'd imagine with the Level Up, the bigger problem is getting enough people involved to fill the show with 24 hours of wrestling over 3 days.
That is not a problem at all. We got hit up the day after Level Up last year to get on this year's show. So we're running into the same problem that we had last year, that we're overbooked, but it's gonna work out. And like with the amount of time that we have, we thought we had less time last year, but we actually had more time than we were supposed to. So yeah, we have plenty of talent, plenty of great wrestlers that are coming in, a lot of surprises that are gonna be really cool too. So I'm really excited for that.
And then, like you said, that really kicks off the year for Versus Pro, really resets everything, and almost the start of a new season right after that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we're already running into changes. So like with all the championships that are being changed and the feuds that are starting to light up, man, going in the Level Up is going to be really fire.
Well, who are some of the people that Damien Drake should be on the lookout for?
Well, number one, got to be Honest John. That's definitely one. But keep in mind that night one of Level Up, that's cash-in day. So the Level Up Championship is going to get cashed in for a championship opportunity night one. So we're already running into a big thing. Like Greg Sharp's our champion right now for Level Up Expo champion. So between him and Damien Drake, or we still got Shade that still needs a rematch. Mandel is still up there. Honest John is already going against Damien Drake. Maybe he'll be our new champion going into Level Up. We don't know what's going on.
Maybe the title holder even before the event. True.
Yeah.
And then
Honest John is insane. He's already picking up championships and wins everywhere else, man. Like I don't see it. I don't see that being out of the question.
No, I mean it really is interesting. Like I mentioned, just the amount of wrestling out of Las Vegas, it's really not matched by any other individual city.
Yeah,
How does that feel with just literally every night there's something going on in Las Vegas, and you have just a huge pool of talent to pull from? That has to be a good feeling, being on top of the promotion and kind of guiding the ship.
Having a full roster of talent that want to be out there and want to be seen and want to work, and they're all so talented, and they're all so just amazing people. We could be like, hey, we have an event on this Thursday. We'll have our whole crew of people there ready to bust their butts on putting on a great show for somebody.
And for me, I'm jealous, man, because if I had this much wrestling when I was a kid, I'd never be home. I would never be home. I had Buffalo Gym. If anybody knows Buffalo Gym, we used to go in a garage and watch local wrestling in a garage that's probably the size of my garage now. Like we used to go to garages to watch local wrestling. And then there was UPW. We used to go to like Silver Nugget every once in a while, but that was once in a blue moon. It wasn't anything super consistent. So the fact that we have wrestling literally every weekend, I'm jealous, because as a kid, I would have been all over the place.
And then we get the awesome drop-ins. We get the AEWs, the WWEs here twice a year.
GCW.
We get GCW twice a year now. Impact and Ring of Honor.
Impact's coming again,
New Japan came just a couple months ago. That was awesome. Like, wrestling fans in this region have a lot of options and a lot of shows within just a couple hours driving.
Yeah, before we only got WWE and WCW, we didn't get a Ring of Honor. We didn't have an ECW. We didn't have any of those cool, like, indie feds, whatever you want to call them now. Like, we didn't have any of those territory wrestling perspectives except for NWC at the time. And now that we have, like, a lot of local wrestling and then a lot of territory wrestling, and then we have our WWEs and AEWs that come into town, like, it's awesome. I just wish I was a kid again, I can catch a ball on all the shows.
It's another golden age of wrestling. If you take a look at it on cable TV every week, the number 1, number 2 programs usually outside of Major League Sports are WWE and AEW in some order. Impact Wrestling's rolling along. They're doing good. They're picking up steam, and they're going to have their shows coming up again at Sam's Town. Get some Las Vegas talent involved in that. If the NWA, Ring of Honor's coming back, I think within the month. Like you said, New Japan strong. And just straight New Japan coming and getting involved. That has to help, doesn't it? In getting people who want to get involved in your academy, your school, and work up into the level 1 shows.
Yeah, we at least get 1 or 2 new students that come in that hear about us from other students that are either attending or working the shows. That's pretty cool, because like you get to see those people that really, really never knew that there was an option to actually do that. And now that they've gotten that exposure, it's like, okay, well, maybe I can do this. And I know a lot of people say that wrestling is for everyone, and I wholeheartedly agree that. But there is a caveat to that. Like, it isn't for everyone. It's for anyone that wants to put in the work. And there's a lot of people that do want to put in that work. Got to just find them.
Yeah, and it's not easy. I mean, if you want to get in and take a couple dives in the mat, it even just that'll knock the wind out of you. So It
Yeah,
definitely is a
we had a
commitment
guy that
to.
was like huge. This guy was like Batista size, and
Uh-huh.
my guy didn't last 2 months there. He was just like, this is. I don't want to bump. I don't want to take any of these like hits. I was like, these things hurt. I was like, well, yeah, I don't know what you expected. Like, have you watched wrestling before?
Well,
But I just thought it
it's
was a little
not the
less than
old
that.
yeah, it's not the old 1970s wrestling where you could get through the match with a couple of punches, a couple of elbows, a little bit of this. The lucha libre style, the Japanese strong style, it's all influenced, and you see that style in your matches. So people who haven't had the chance to watch Versus Pro, people who are watching from outside of the Las Vegas area, you're going to see the wrestling that you're used to seeing. If you're just watching the major promotions, the WWE, AEW, Impact, you can see that style of wrestling, that level of athleticism in the independent wrestling now.
Agreed. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are extremely talented. Like I was just watching a match that we had during the pandemic with Jack Hartwell and R3, Charles Cassius, who's going to be wrestling Papa shortly. Man, like watching a guy like Jack Hartwell. I don't know if you ever caught him, but he is insane. Like he wrestles like he floats all the time, and it's ridiculous. Watching
Yeah.
him on BCW is insane because GCW and AAA, man, like him getting those opportunities and being able to showcase how talented he is amazing.
Well, let me ask you about one other new champion you had. Our friend Shaggy McLovin, the new Battleborn champion.
Yeah, that's my guy. I've known Shaggy since he was a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he was holding cameras for us back in the day. Now he's actually beating people up.
Okay.
I have a tag match with him this week, so we were definitely gonna be best buddies after this one, beating up everybody over in Arizona.
Oh, great. So getting out there a little bit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Like Shags tries to stay home as much as possible, but when we have these opportunities to actually venture out, me and him usually ruffle some feathers and get in a little trouble. So
Always Arizona.
Well, there
we are
seems to be a connection forming really between the Arizona territories and Las Vegas. I'm noticing quite a bit of crossover.
absolutely. There's a lot of bleed over when it comes to companies like AWF and Wrestle Drag, and we were really like it's embedded in Versus now. We have Party Hard Wrestling, like those
Mhm.
companies that built some of our talent when they weren't at home. You know, like those are the companies that we really like to work with and have some interest in their talents that they're actually training out there. Because for people that don't know, and I really want to push them that way, R3 was teaching a lot of guys out there. He had a hand in Damien Desire. If you haven't seen Damien Desire is an insane wrestler, and he's months and like probably like a year
I
now, but
think he's
like
about a year.
man, having a guy that talented that fast is insane. But
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of those guys have a lot to do with R3 and Bryce Saturn. Jacob Austin Young teaches a lot of good people out there. They've got a lot of good people that are living in Arizona that, yeah, they're hanging out with us too. Good people.
Yeah. A short jaunt to the combat sports capital of the world.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
4 hours
little trip.
maybe.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes.
not too bad. And there's always a place you can stay in Las Vegas. So nice, easy
Yeah, I
trip.
mean we're all pretty tight, so they know they can crash with us every once in a while.
Well, let's go into the championship round here. I don't have the versus title. I got the LVWS Confidential title here. So
There you
you
go.
guys get to be the champions of the week.
Yes, my guy.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Going to the champion round here. Let me ask you, as a tag team of promoters, who's your favorite tag team wrestlers of all time?
Of all time? Demolition?
Yeah, like you're talking about in general, right? Not like
Just
locally
in general,
or.
anywhere.
Oh yeah, so I'll give you a little story. So I'm a big LOD fan. Don't get me wrong. But that wasn't my exposure to that type of wrestling at first. I was exposed to Demolition and the Powers of Pain first. And the first wrestling match that I ever remember was when Fuji was their leader for all four guys, and they're led into the Survivor Series team, and then Demolition ended up running away from Fuji, and Powers of Pain ended up picking them up. So like that was like, what is this? That was my insane moment where I was like, oh man, I really need to be involved in that. And then hear Demolition come out with that metal music, man. Like that was what got me into wrestling and metal as a kid. So yeah, that was my thing.
Oh, there you go. Double influence.
Yeah, man.
How about what's been the most influential aspect of your wrestling promotion?
I'll let you start on this one and I can jump in.
Honestly, to be fair, to make sure everybody's listened to and respected. We try to accept everybody's input, everybody's values, and try to make everybody feel welcomed.
Yeah, and that's it comes to us out of fault too, because like we do our best to be fair, but wrestling's not a fair business. We do our best to include everybody, but we can't have everybody on a roster. Ultimately, we have to do some quality control, and some of the quality control does get laxed when it comes to some workers because we want to give them some reps. If you're not on that level just yet, maybe we can give you some reps to where you're working a little bit more and you're working with good people that are going to take care of you. But also we have to do that cutoff, and it's like, yeah, I do appreciate you wanting the opportunity, but we saw a couple of your things, and we might need to give you some suggestions on working on a little bit stronger. And it's hard to have those conversations because everybody needs to get better. Everybody needs to get stronger. Everybody needs to work up. And I do want to give people opportunities, but I can't give everybody opportunities here.
Yeah, fair. There's only so many people, and at some point somebody has to win, somebody has to lose, right?
Yeah, I mean, not everybody can be Superman. You got to be Lex Luthor every once in a while, you know?
Yeah. Easier being a babyface or a heel?
It's way better. It's way easier being a heel. Nobody wants to like you. That's just the long and short of it. Nobody wants to like you. I can smile at you. I can do everything I want, like verbally, to get you behind me. But when they first see you, they don't want to like you. That's how the world is. So it's so much easier making them hate you. Like I can make somebody hate me in a quick second. I need to build them to like me if that's the case.
And then on the flip side, is it harder to convince new talent to be a babyface or be a heel?
It's impossible. It's impossible. I have to get them to understand that you are nothing at this point. And I'm not saying like you're not a person. I mean that you're not a face, you're not a heel. You have to work on your craft to make sure you're a good person, take care of the people that you're working with, all that fun stuff. That's your focus. You're not face, you're not heel, you're not good, you're not bad. You're a worker. You're out there to work. They are going to determine whether you're a face or heel. If they like you, cool. If they don't like you, cool. It is what it is. Make some noise. That's what I need.
Okay. You let the people decide.
I mean,
let the fans decide and then go that way.
I can sit there and say, I can tell you a million times, I'm a great person. I do this, I do that. And they're like, well, why are you telling me all your business?
Yeah.
I mean, no, yeah, I'm not going to tell anybody that I'm a good person. They're just going to believe it or they're not. So why force anybody's hand? They didn't force a Stone Cold situation. They knew he was going to be a bad guy. And what happened? Yeah. He's the best heel and best babyface in the business.
Well, the same thing's happening right now with Roman Reigns. He's probably more popular now than he's ever been. And this is really the first extended time he's been on the bad guy side.
Yeah, and you're not supposed to like Roman Reigns. We just do. Yeah. Everybody, when you were supposed to like Roman Reigns, they were like, oh, well, I don't want to like that guy.
No, he's just another John Cena, just like you said. Yeah.
Now they love him. I love him. Mm-hmm. It's fucking awesome. I loved him before everybody else didn't like him. I was like, why do you not like this guy? This dude's great. And yeah, there was shit all over him. Cares.
All the time. Now, let me ask you then, What would Wes, Kara? What do you guys have? Just the one takeaway to the people watching. What do they need to look out for from Versus Pro Studios this year?
What you got?
I don't want to say anything to Level Up. Just tune in to Level Up and follow.
Or do they just need to tune in?
I don't want to say anything and ruin it.
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to overhype anything, and we're not trying to. But like, we got a lot of cool things that are in the works right now that aren't solidified. So we don't want to sit there and like overpromise, but we don't also want to like spoil any cool surprises.
Yeah, I know.
We have some cool venues that we want to shoot at. We have some good companies that we're working with. A lot of combination shows. A lot of shows that might not be in Vegas. So we're trying to like branch out doing that way. We got a lot of cool things that are branching out right now. But ultimately, we really would just want to focus on getting our students some work, having them travel with us, get some cool things done with that, have some cool experiences. We might not even have verses as of next year, depending on what the situation is. But ultimately, we are having fun doing what we're doing right now. And when we stop having fun doing that, we'll probably just find someone else to pick our brains with, right?
Okay. Well, keep a lookout on all your social medias then. And of course, you can follow at Las Vegas Wrestling Scene.com on all the social medias and subscribe on YouTube for the new episodes hitting every Wednesday. Wes, Kara, thanks a lot for joining, and thanks for stepping into the ring here on LVWS Confidential.
It was nice meeting you, Gerald. Keep in touch with us, all right?
Absolutely. You guys too. Look forward to the Level Up Festival coming up soon.
All right, brother.
Bye.